We believed the most important investment we'll ever make is in people, training young leaders to thrive and be resilient. As the Rotary Peace Centers thrive and our 60-year collaboration with the United Nations continues, the impact of our peace-building efforts is even further amplified, giving the voiceless a platform to speak for themselves and helping Rotary find potential in unexpected places. Today we invite you to see what's possible, because when we gain new perspectives, we have the power to change the world. Learn how you can support the cause that means the most to you.
This is February and it is Peace Month, which is very, very important to me. We have become a peace builder club due to the efforts of the International Committee led by Eulalie Young. And Pat Riley on this call has been instrumental in also making that happen and is working in the peace effort. We're seeking a candidate for a peace fellowship this year. And we are trying to educate one another and people even outside of Rotary about how important peace is in the world that we're living in right now. There's not a lot that we can do as individuals, but that's one thing we can do. We can educate ourselves about how important peace is. We've had a couple more guests join us during the inspiration. And good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Rachel is with the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth, and she'll be on the program just a little later. And welcome, Christine.
Good morning, everybody. Pardon my tardiness.
Oh, you're welcome at any time during the meeting. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, first I want to thank Matt for including me, and thank you, Linda.
Absolutely.
I am a new business owner in 2020. Very excited. I have a 20-year career in media marketing for businesses. Generally, I've worked with television and cable companies, and I'm now the publisher of Red Rock Lifestyle. Very excited to represent the west side of town. The zip codes we go into for our luxury lifestyle magazine is all of Summerlin. And then we go down a little bit east and get into Canyon Gate, Queens Ridge, the lake, some of those territories. So, but it's a very high-end, beautiful magazine. So look forward to feedback from this group especially.
It's so great to have you with us. And we seek different vocations to join our club, and David Cabral is a vocational service chair. And I don't think we have anybody in publishing, do we, David?
No, Linda, we don't. So happy to have you aboard, Christine. And I think you'll find this probably will be a worthwhile endeavor for you, and we'd love to have you be a part of us.
And speaking of different vocations, I don't think we have anybody in broadband, do we?
There's not too many of us out there.
Oh my goodness. We might be hitting a double here this morning. I guess I'm getting into baseball a little early. But welcome, everybody. So glad that you are with us. We have a craft talk this morning, and Christy Seragino, take it away.
Hi, guys. Just wanted to thank you for the chance to get up and speak. I just got to be Rotarian of the Month last month, which was awesome. So just a little bit about me really quick personally. I moved to Vegas in 1997 to attend UNLV, and I got my undergrad and master's degree there. Met my husband, Dan, there. He was with me for the Rotarian of the Month meeting. Right now, he has to help get our 5 boys started on class and make sure they all actually got out of bed and all that stuff. So he's busy right now. But we're both kind of from military families. Our parents were both in the military and have moved all over the country. So prior to going into real estate, I worked as an accountant. I worked in finance, and then did some human resources as well. So more like admin, business side of things. And like I was saying the other day, my husband started his own law firm where he works from home last year. So now I'm also, in addition to real estate, helping him run his business and do all the financials and things like that. So that's been fun. It's been interesting to have everybody home. All my kids are home doing their schooling from home. Can't wait to get them back in school someday. But so that's a little bit of a history on me. In total, I've lived in Vegas for, I think, about 19 years now. I've lived here twice. We moved to New York for a little while when we first got married and then came back. So I love this city. I was ready to leave it the first time. It was the longest I had lived anywhere since I grew up in a military family. But now that I'm back, this is where we plan to stay and settle down forever. So I'm going to share my screen, give you guys a little bit of, oh, give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. So these are my 5 guys. I was taken when we went to go see the Christmas star, or, you know, around Christmas, they had the star where 2 planets aligned. I can't remember which ones. But anyway, that's them waiting for it to get dark. Yeah. Oh, there you go. All right. So a little bit about my real estate experience. So I started doing this in 2017. And I have found that my background with accounting, because I love numbers, and also I had to do a lot of contract review in business. So a lot of that has helped me a lot. And honestly, in addition, having a husband that's an attorney that I can go to sometimes and be like, how do you interpret this? Or, you know, how would you handle this? So, but in my listings and in my dealing with buyers, I've had experience with investment properties, just sold a horse property a couple months back, horse zoned, several golf course homes from Lake Las Vegas to Red Rock to Sienna, luxury properties as well, retirement communities. And I've dealt with a lot of first-time home buyers. I have to admit, in real estate, they say listings are where it's at, because you basically get it, you do the marketing, and then you kind of sit back and wait for the offers to come in. And then from there, the buyers are all doing the work. You know, they're having to do the due diligence, everything. I love working with buyers. It's not that I don't like listings, but there are agents out there who get to a point where they're like, I no longer work with buyers and drive them around town. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So I do deal with first-time home buyers, including like military families coming in. And then I've had quite a few out-of-state clients. I want to say probably half of my buyers have probably been coming in from out of state. California, obviously, right now is a big state we're getting transplants from, especially with COVID and people being able to work from home. Several of my more recent clients are people that are, you know, used to have to go into an office and now have the ability to work from home forever, not just during COVID. So they've decided to move somewhere where they can save money on taxes and buy a much lower priced property than, let's say, you know, San Francisco Bay Area. I also have experience with new construction, and I always like to educate people on that, because new construction, when you walk into a builder, without a realtor, you're unrepresented. So the person you're going to be dealing with actually works for the builder and has the builder's best interest in mind. So I always recommend, doesn't have to be me, but even if you're looking at new construction, hire a realtor for you. It will cost you not a single penny more for the house. The builder pays the commission, and the price is going to be the same whether or not you have a realtor. But at least you have someone advocating for you, someone with experience of what's normal, what's not. It can be really helpful. You know, I've had friends that have had to negotiate free appliance packages because the builder messed up. But that's the kind of stuff you may not get if you're just kind of working on your own. So, all right. So one thing I've learned in the 4 years I've been in business is there are a lot of agents out there that I'm surprised at that don't return phone calls, especially when they have a listing and you're trying to make an offer on it. It's shocking that someone won't answer the phone. And if you were the seller, that would probably make you not very happy. So I like to have clear communication with my buyers and sellers. I even do a timeline where I put in, you know, real estate is a lot of deadlines, and what does that mean? So I like to, from the time of the offer, give either side a list of here's the dates that need to be met and what will be happening by then. So they have something to reference back to. I'm quick to respond, usually within an hour. I will contact people back if I'm busy. I definitely listen to my clients. I don't try to push my own agenda on them. I'm not going to try to force someone into a house, you know, for that's not their favorite or they're not sure about. I do free consultations or comps. Even if you're thinking about selling and you just want a second opinion, for any of you guys, I'm happy to do it. I am not pushy at all. I'm not going to be like, now you owe me something back. Comps will take me maybe, you know, up to 20 minutes. So I'm happy to do it for you. Sorry, my eyes are watering this morning. I don't know about anybody else, but when I have listings, I do all the paid marketing, so it doesn't cost you anything until the house sells. So I've paid for Facebook ads, which get a lot of attention, especially now with the market being what it is. I'll make a video tour of the home, which I can also advertise on Facebook. I've had one that got 1,700 views on it. Professional photographs. I'm not going to take them on my own phone. And I've always been a big problem solver. So if there's a problem, I'll solve it. Sorry, that was a little ice baby. But from my background in working, I'm not someone who just kind of lets things go. I'm going to figure out a solution for you or several solutions for you. And the other thing is I like to offer a lot of feedback. So what I'm hearing, if it's a listing, for instance, and what I'm hearing from the buyers, if people are interested or not, I think all feedback is relevant when someone's selling their home. So currently the market, this is from 2006 to January. So you can see where the market dipped when the bubble burst and where we are at now. We're actually higher average sales price than we were right before the bubble burst. Does that mean I think that we're in another bubble right now just because prices are back up? No, this was, 8 years ago. I do think that we may see a slowdown in the next couple of years. It's definitely hotter than it's been in a long time right now, but that's being driven by things like the low interest rates and also the lack of inventory in Las Vegas. There's a lot of competition for homes, so people are willing to offer higher prices for it, which is driving up those prices as well. So one of the things that could affect what we see in the market coming up is the eviction and foreclosure moratoriums expiring. So far, they keep getting extended. I would not be surprised if they continue to get extended. But the way these work is you actually can do an eviction in Nevada if people don't put the right paperwork together. So you actually need to get some paperwork that states that it's COVID related and you're certifying that and get that to your landlord. So if you do that and you certify that, then they can't evict you. But if you do nothing, you actually could be evicted. So specifically, I'm giving you December numbers, one, because it's kind of a nice year end, but also January numbers aren't really reliable quite yet at this time of the month. We need a few more days to pass. But the average home price was up 10.4%. You can see it's at $357. So I can tell you it's amazing. Even, I have a listing coming up that's about 1,600 square feet and will sell for probably close to $300,000. So, and up in North Las Vegas. So it's amazing, what has happened over the last few years. But what's driving that is that our month supply is 2.8 months in December. And that's from July of 2019. Oh, sorry, that should say December of 2019. It was 3.7 months. So you can see how much inventory has been driven down. And because of that, those prices just continue to go up.
So Christy, I've got to give you the kind of almost cut off warning.
Okay. All right. Just to give you an example, I can run these numbers specific to certain areas, specific to certain neighborhoods, including Summerlin. This is kind of the Summerlin specific numbers since we're Summerlin Club. And then this is my last thing. So some of the behaviors we're seeing right now is multiple offers on a property, 10 or 11 within 24 hours, sometimes of them being listed, offers above appraisal, offers sight unseen, where people make the offer and say they'll see it to approve it after it's accepted, and a lot of migration to Las Vegas, like I mentioned before.
Goodness.
So yeah, the market's a little crazy right now, but we'll see what happens in the next year.
All right.
So that's it. That's my
Any
update.
questions for Christy? So we always ask during a craft talk, Christy, what would a good lead be for you?
Anybody looking to buy or sell a residential property. And again, I'm not pushy. I'm happy to meet with you, see if we click. If it doesn't work, then that's okay too. I did get a lead the other day from Michael Levy, so thank you for that. I left you a message. I'm not sure if you ever got it, but thank you.
That's great. We
I did
appreciate
get
it
it.
so much.
I just had a hell of a week and 2 weeks and whatever.
No worries. I'm glad you got the message.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot, Christy. We sure appreciate it.
Oh, here, let me stop sharing.
And while we're transitioning to the next screen, sympathy to Mike Levy, who lost a brother recently, and I know that we all send our warm wishes.
Thank you.
All right, shall we go on to the little video?
My name is Tyson Hall. The Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth is a nonprofit organization that helps youth experiencing homelessness get access to any kind of resource that they need so that they can get back on their feet and be self-sufficient. Foundation is currently doing a tour led by Arash Kafouri, who is the executive director of NPHY, and now they should be prepping for the pizza making class that we're having later on today for the clients here. The purpose of the pizza making class is a really good way to keep them engaged. We want them to be engaged and to really feel connected to the people that work here and with each other and really feel like they're part of the community because they are.
Excellent. One of the grants that we have applied for with the district this year is for this project, and Glenn Ritt has been the leader of the troop on the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. And we have Rachel with us this morning. And Glenn, would you like to say a few words and tell the group what we're doing with Rachel today?
Well, Rachel and the partnership has been a part of our world now, or we've been a part of their world for almost 2 years. It's a constantly evolving but dynamic relationship. Before the pandemic, we liked to go down there and cook at least once a month for upwards of 20 to 25 of the youth. It's been more challenging since then, so we thought money would be a useful alternative during that time. Rachel has been kind enough to experiment with us to see if we could continue to relate to the kids and help cook through digital means. And we had an experiment that was about 75% successful in before the holidays, and hopefully we begin or restart that project next month. Rachel has hosted a lot of us, shown us a lot of what the youth community is all about. And some of us even had the opportunity to participate in a digital graduation recently, which was not only educational, but frankly, quite moving.
All right. And ta-da! This is, it's backwards, but this is the fake tech. So we have made a donation, and Rachel, would you like to say a few words?
I would love to. First of all, thank you, Linda and Glenn, so much for having me this morning. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for everything that the Summerlin Rotary Club has done for NPHY. Not only have you supported us through volunteerism, and Glenn, I have to say it was 100% successful because our kids got fed and they made it themselves. So you taught them some self-sufficiency there. So I'm up in your 75 to 100% successful.
So Chef Glenn did a virtual cooking class from his own kitchen. And he hasn't shared any of that video with me. Don't know why. But we have donated $500 to the cause. And Rachel, how many people would that feed?
So the generous donations is going to help us support youth at our drop-in center, as well as youth in our emergency shelters and our independent living program, where we do host these virtual classes, and we can definitely get the classes set up for March and beyond. And we support every year over 10,000 repeat visits of 700 plus individual clients. So your support is going to go a long way to help us continue meeting the immediate needs of our youth at our drop-in center and on the streets through our outreach program. So we really appreciate everything you do. And I see a few different members I know. Dave personally helped me and my fiance, so thank you, Dave. And then where are you? Steve Finley too is an amazing supporter of NPHY through his business. So we appreciate you all.
And Rachel, about how much is one meal for one of the homeless youth?
Yeah, so it varies, but just between like $5 to $10. That's what we typically give out to our youth too when they are at our drop-in center and need gift cards to make sure that they have food when they're not at our drop-in center. But your donations go, again, a long way to supporting all of our youth.
And we had a question from one of the members. What is your annual funding requirement to run this program?
To be honest, I am not the great person to answer that question for you. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, but
well, that's too bad, because this guy was ready to write you a check. Too bad.
I'm gonna say $10 million then.
Oh, goodness. Well, anybody have any questions for Rachel? We're hoping that we can be more hands-on in the future with this project, because the pandemic has taken a little bit of the steam out of the interaction directly with your clients. But thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And again, I appreciate everything that the Summerlin Rotary Club.
Hey, Linda, we have one more question.
All right.
Rachel, do you have a relationship with the Born This Way Foundation?
So we do. They came in and they supported us, and that's what we made that video in 2019. So they came in and volunteered, and they advocate for us here locally in Nevada.
Excellent. Any more questions for Rachel? Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Our meeting today is sponsored by DNR House of Diamonds. Dave Paget, is this a busy time for you?
Oh, just a little bit, Linda, just a little bit. Obviously, we love Rotary Club of Summerlin. As a past president, it's our programs and the things that we support is near and dear to our heart, as certainly as a company. Rich and I appreciate everything the club does. It's great to see so many new guests. It's great to see our membership growing. And Linda, just hats off and congratulations to you on doing such a great job in a very difficult year.
Oh, that's so kind. And Dave is one of our membership chairs. And I think that you see some fresh faces here this morning, Dave Paget. Yes, that's
absolutely
great. All right. And let's move on to our main event. Oh, we have a little video. And if you haven't had the pleasure of designing a piece of jewelry with Dave, it is so much fun. Thank you so much, Dave, for your support of this meeting and our club. Pat Riley, would you like to introduce our speaker today?
Yes, glad to do that. Many of you know Larry Brown as a Rotarian, former member of this club. Others of you know him as a former Las Vegas City Councilman from 1997 to 2008, and then as a Clark County Commissioner from 2009 to 2020. His career as a professional baseball player is what brought him here. He pitched, I believe, for 2 seasons for the San Diego AAA affiliate Las Vegas Stars. And if you know who the Las Vegas Stars are, you've been in Las Vegas a very long time. I think of Larry Brown as a true leader, one of the few grown-ups in politics and a unique voice of reason in this very loud marketplace of ideas. He's now retired from politics, or is he? I guess we might find out today, but please welcome Larry Brown.
Unmute.
Yes.
Patrick, thank you. And good morning to all you Rotarians. Thank you, Linda, Club, for inviting me to stop by. This is perhaps the first official thing I've done in a long time, like 28 days and 8 hours and a couple minutes. First and foremost, happy Groundhog's Day. Many of you know, my wife Celeste was raised in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. So today, Phil saw his shadow. 6 more weeks of winter. In fact, they're getting a pretty good winter back east right now. But that's 37 years ago. We were married in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. And as Patrick mentioned, as of January 4th, 9 a.m., I am no longer an elected local official, and feeling pretty good about that. The 2 most frequent questions I have been receiving, how are you doing? And do you miss it? On the first part, doing well. I'm battling through this pandemic, and hopefully this year will turn things around. And as far as do I miss it? I miss the people. There's no question, but I don't miss the politics. I truly have cut the cord there. And to answer your question on the front end, Patrick, no, politics is done. And I would invite all you Rotarians, if you ever hear rumor that I'm interested in getting back into politics, please come speed slap me, knock me down, get me out of that frame of mind. I just
and call Bob Beers.
Yeah. But it was like many things in our lives. I felt very comfortable with leaving politics. I'm going to try, Linda, I'm going to try to do some show and tell.
All right.
But if I look back in my high school and college and professional baseball, etc., there was always a next chapter. I always felt very comfortable turning the page, hopefully at the appropriate time, but turning the page and moving on to the next adventure, the next chapter in my life. So I'm going to see if this show and tell works. And some of you golfers may recognize this, but I'm going to, I don't know.
Whoa.
So this is St. Andrews, the famous golf course in Scotland, and the Swilcan Bridge. Those are the 4, legacy golfers: Billy Casper, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus. This has been hanging outside my office for the past 20 years, along with its sister picture. Same picture, same course, same bridge.
Oh, beautiful.
Can you see that okay?
Yes, gorgeous.
And this has always been a very, very strong belief of mine that what those pictures have meant to me throughout my life is, we're put into a position where in our jobs, in our lives, and we have a limited time. In my case, politics was 24 years. Others, a couple of years, it could be a couple of decades. But the point being is those legendary golfers, those legacies, the players come and go, but St. Andrews and the institution of golf will remain. As an elected official, we come and go, but the institution of government will always be there. And Rotarians, we all hope to live long and happy, healthy lives, but we come and go. Rotary will be there forever. And that is why I've felt very comfortable leaving politics, because it was the right time. And I'm sure many of you in your own careers have felt at that point that you either need to move on, or you've done all you can do, or those type emotions. And that's that made the transition out of politics a lot easier. That comfort level that I had done my time, and it was time to pass the baton on. So, and that's my show and tell for this morning. The technology I'm not quite up to date on. And the most rewarding part, again, I miss the people. The most rewarding part parallels what Rotary is all about, and that is the public service aspect of it. Because you truly, and many of you have heard me in the past talk about this, you can truly make a difference. And this is with all due respect to our federal delegation and our state legislature and our governor and et al. But you know, DC is 3,000 miles away, and sometimes you wonder what's going on back there. Carson City, they meet every 2 years. In fact, they started yesterday. But locally, City of Las Vegas and Clark County, every 2 weeks, we're dealing with agendas that have anywhere from 50 to 100 items, and we act on them. And the decisions we make at the local level impact your lives and the lives of our community far greater and immediate than the state or the federal level. And that's with no disrespect, but I've always enjoyed that aspect of the local government because you truly find out very quickly if you've made good decisions or bad decisions. And fortunately, we've been in a time that there've been a lot of good decisions made. Serving over the last 24 years, 12 at the city and 12 at the county, you couldn't ask for a better window. The bookends, you know, we had 9/11, 1 October, the pandemic, 2 recessions squeezed into this time frame. And as an elected official, as a policy person, you couldn't have asked for a more challenging and yet rewarding window. On the local level, I felt from day one, and still feel today, that our core mission at the local level, pretty simple. Politics aside, it's a pretty basic mission of public safety. Every survey that has ever been done, ever been taken, people want to feel safe at home and school, at business, out in the parks. And public safety, between Metro and our fire departments, we have some of the best public safety personnel anywhere in this country. And just look at what they've accomplished during some of these crisis periods. I've felt very, very strongly, especially with Metro and the police department. And they have done some things over the last decade to improve themselves. Back, I think 15 or 16, they invited the federal government in to do an audit of the entire agency, and the feds came back with close to a couple dozen recommendations, all of which have been implemented. So I am a very, very pro-police, pro-fire, and it's important because I think at the end of the day, public safety will remain the #1 priority for local elected officials. The second leg of the stool is not so much the flamboyant, but basically the public infrastructure. It's your water, your sewer, your sidewalks, your streets, your parks, your streetlights, all the stuff that we all take for granted. That's what we do at the local level. We make sure that those elements of the community are done to the best and most efficient way possible, and often will reflect the quality of life that people feel in Las Vegas. especially with parks, which has been a very, very much a passion of mine. And I still think, Linda, is Summerlin Rotary still doing the police memorial?
Yes, in
partnership?
fact, we're talking about going up there in March to do a little cleanup.
Yeah, just wonderful. Those are the type elements in our community that you just can't take for granted. I drive by Betty Wilson Soccer Complex, the Lone Mountain Regional Park. On some days, there are thousands of people enjoying those elements. And I think, again, that's incumbent upon the local officials. We certainly love state and federal money to help build them. But, and the third piece, and probably the piece that's the most challenging, is the social service component. We handle from the newborns to the senior shut-ins, Clark County, especially on the social service side, just tremendous challenges for those in need. And I say those in need, not the people that have chosen to either choose that lifestyle or not, but tremendous burden on the community. And yet those three legs of the stool, that's what we're all about. And as long as we stay true to that core mission and not stray too far, we'll be in good shape. I can't compliment enough the professional city managers, county managers, senior staff that I've had the good fortune to work with over the past couple of decades. As far as what's ahead, I think a lot of people ask the biggest challenges right now, other than how the cost of housing, that's a challenge. We're trying to downsize, and my goodness, interest rates are wonderful, but my goodness.
You need a realtor, Larry Brown? I think we've got one on the.
Yeah. I took all those notes. The one thing I'm concerned about at the local level now is the extremism that we saw over the past couple of years. And a divided nation, if you look past 100 years of elections, we will always be a divided nation as far as, 48%, 52, 49, 51. That's just the norm. What concerns me is the partisanship at the federal level, which makes for good news and fodder for the Fourth Estate. It kind of trickled down over the past 6 to 8 years, last 4 sessions at the state level in Carson City. So a lot more partisan politics. At the local level, the cities in Southern Nevada are nonpartisan. When they run, you don't know if they're Democrat, independents, Republicans. The county commission is a quote, partisan race, but it shouldn't be. The local level, we deal, I'm going to say over 90% of the issues we deal with are nonpartisan. Again, public safety, public infrastructure, social services, doesn't matter what your political beliefs are or values. But I'm seeing that extremism, that partisanship trickle down to the local level over the last 2 election cycles. And that's worrisome. And it's as simple as when we're at the county commission, there is a member that continually introduced agenda items dealing with melting icebergs and $15 an hour increases, just things that we don't need. You steer away from that core mission, and then you start getting purely political in your policy making. And again, I can't emphasize enough the importance of making sure that, especially at the county level, that Board of County Commissions is nonpartisan and focused solely on the fundamental mission of public safety, infrastructure, and social services. So I think that's the thing that it's going to, I'm going to keep an eye on. I hope things settle in. I certainly think Mr. Biden has spoke of trying to unify, and I think what examples are set at the federal level can certainly trickle down to the state and the local level. As far as where we are today, people are also asking about the comeback. You know, what is 2021 going to do? I was fortunate during this past, 2020, we had once a week phone calls with the whole pandemic. Between police and fire and health district and all the other municipalities. So we had up-to-date numbers and kind of followed it the whole way. And right now, in fact, if any of you Rotarians are following it, everything's trending well right now. Hospitalizations are down significantly. I think they're at 75%. The ventilators are down under 40%, the ventilator use. We have the rolling average, the 14-day rolling average on positivity rates, which almost got to 22%, is now down to 17.4%. So all this is trending well. And the vaccines, although a little bit slow coming out, offer a lot of optimism going into the first and second quarters of 2021. With an asterisk beside this weekend, you know, coming out of the holidays, Christmas and New Year's and Hanukkah, and the trending is really good, which is a very strong signal that people are doing better today as far as wearing masks and social distancing and being careful, more so 6 months than 6 months ago. But now we're going into perhaps the biggest challenge is Super Bowl weekend. And please, if any of you are having a Super Bowl party, be careful, be really careful. Coming into the first few weeks of February, we'll see if those trends continue downward. There's a very good chance that we will get out in front of the pandemic into the second quarter this year. A lot of the businesses are looking at that. Many of you that are or have been business owners right now are at the 25%. We're hoping the governor over the next 60 days will loosen that a little bit. Tourism, conventions, critically important to our economy. They're targeting, there's in June, in fact, I think it's June 8th, we have the World of Concrete, and that is one of the largest conventions in town. So they rescheduled from late January to June, and that'll be critical. It's coming off the Memorial Day weekend. That will be a real harbinger for what's in front of us. And then going into July 4th, there's talk about having the greatest celebration, America's birthday, and knowing Las Vegas, they'll do it upright. So there's a lot of optimism in the air right now with, again, a cautionary footnote to just be careful. I think people have finally bought into we can beat this, we can get out in front of it. A lot of good things happening. And plus, if you follow it all, I served on the Convention and Visitors Authority, so it was a wonderful experience to see the marketing of Las Vegas during the great times and certainly during the challenges. And the old slogan, "What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas." If you, just before the pandemic, they had come up with kind of the next generation, and it was what happens in Las Vegas only happens in Las Vegas. And it was a great campaign, and I emphasized that only in Las Vegas, whereas there's gambling, some type of gambling in 48 states. You have wonderful entertainment off and on throughout this country. You have professional sports everywhere, but only in Las Vegas can you go to a Raiders game at Allegiant Stadium on Thursday night football, and then on Friday night, go back to the Legion Stadium and see Garth Brooks in concert, and then eat at a 5-star restaurant. And we have it all. And that engine that continues to drive our economy, the gaming and the tourism industry, they're ready. There's a pent-up demand. And believe me, there's a lot of these corporations here locally that are gearing up and have a lot of faith that things will turn. So I'm hoping that the second quarter of this year, we're going to see all the positive signs, and quarters 3 and 4 are really going to be concrete evidence and facts that will take us back to where we need to get to. I'll pause there, Linda. I don't know how far I've gone, but.
Well, I think it's about time for any questions that I have a big question, but I'll wait until the other questions are asked. And Larry, you have drawn an international audience this morning. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
We have Madhu on the call from India. Madhu, would you like to say hello to the group and tell us about your club?
Sure, thank you so much. So I'm the immediate past president of the E-Club of Melbourne, District 9800 Australia. I live in Calcutta in India, which is eastern part of India. And our club was chartered in 2013. So at the moment we have 13 members. We are a very small club. Myself from India, another Rotarian from Dubai, are the only 2 international members. The rest are all from Australia, from Tasmania, from Brisbane, and from Melbourne.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, I'm very happy to be amongst all of you, and I enjoyed the presentation so much.
Oh, thank you very much. So Larry Brown, see, your reach is pretty far. Who has questions for Larry this morning? Oh, do we want to go right to my question right away? Oh my goodness.
Hey, Linda.
Yes?
Hey, what's happening with baseball this spring, young man?
Well, great question. I will be working part-time with the Aviators. Don Logan, many of you know, is the president, been there for 35 years. As it stands now, yesterday's article in the paper said that Major League Baseball is looking to start late April. Last year during the pandemic, minor league baseball shut down, but they had AAA players at an offsite location that they could use moving back and forth. This year, AAA is going to parallel Major League. The spring training camps are going to have only the Major League teams and the AAA teams. They'll break camp and the rest of the minor leagues will come in. So we're hoping to start our season either mid to late April. And the big question, Neil, is what the governor is going to allow for capacity. You know, if any of you got the chance to experience 2019 at the ballpark, it was unbelievable. We set all kinds of records for minor league attendance, just a great experience, and shut it down completely. So we're anxious to see, we know there's a pent-up demand. We give tours of the stadium right now and they sell out every time we post. So I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that we can start it up in at least 25%, which at that stadium, social distancing, we think we can get somewhere between 22 and 2,500 in at that level. We're hoping it goes to 50%. Some of the teams in the Pacific Coast, like 2 franchises in Texas, they're already talking about 100% attendance. So again, depending on the governor and the state's policy.
We love your optimism, Larry Brown. We have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
So I'll jump in, Linda. Right. One of the things that the commission never did during your tenure was open recreational cannabis cafes. And we all know that tourists are smoking it somewhere, and it probably ends up being in their hotel rooms, which is a big problem for gaming companies. Is it ever going to happen? And to me, it's part of sort of luring the tourists back is opening these up. What's your prediction on those?
I think it will happen. Just looking at the cannabis industry, it happened in a hailstorm. It came in so quickly. We had tremendous competition. Of course, now all these international corporations are buying out all the locals. But with Metro and our fire, we've slowed things down even when they started to open up because it was new. Just on the usage and how do you measure, a DUI versus a under the influence. So a lot of those things have slowed the process, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable that that will grow into smoking lounges and incorporate into like the bars and the saloons and this, but it's been, and I think rightfully so, it's been a slow process because we weren't prepared for the worst case scenario or the scenarios that would challenge that public safety infrastructure. Inevitable.
Larry, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to ask the last question and we're going to have to move on in the program. Larry Brown, is it time for you to come home to Rotary?
Maybe. And I say that because right now, the past 28 days and 9 hours have been very enjoyable.
Of course.
With pretty much nothing to do and kind of recharging and re-energizing. So probably not for a few months. I'm going to kind of enjoy this status right now.
Understood. And you're welcome back at any time. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you all.
Been a pleasure. Michael Turner, would you like to say a few words about our April pizza event?
It would help if I unmute. Yeah. It is sort of with a note of sadness that we had to cancel Mardi Gras for this year. It was a real struggle for the fundraising committee. Back in November, the committee decided that trying to do it in February, which is our traditional date, would just not work. So we thought we would do it in May. But as the committee looked at what was going on, last month in our committee meeting, we decided that it just will not happen this year. So we will look forward to doing the event in February of 2022. So we had to think of something in place of it, and Dave Cabral and Glenn Ritt put on their creative hats, and they came up with a very interesting event. It's going to be a pizza and entertainment night. And Carrot Top and Matt Franco, who are, of course, two of the top celebrities here in Las Vegas, will headline the evening. April 17th, it's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. There will be also a Neil Diamond and Carpenter's cover bands, and Kevin Janison, who's the meteorologist at Channel 3, will be the MC. And he'll also be doing some informal chats with the stars of the show. And of course, there'll be some surprises as well. This is what is really great. The tickets for the event are $85 and include a $25 pizza e-gift card. And of course, an hour of streaming entertainment. So invite your family, friends, and you'll be sitting down in the comfort of your living room. And because this is a streaming event, anybody anywhere in the world can be a part of this evening. All they need is an internet connection. And in regards to Pizza Hut, they have over 18,700 restaurants around the world, of which about 7,500 are here in the US. So really, we can invite anybody to enjoy the evening. And again, that's $85 per household, not per person.
All right. Thank you, Michael. We have 4 minutes left. And
Michael?
we've got some things to
Excuse
talk
me.
about.
Excuse me, Michael's put up a calendar event already, and anybody can go to it and register and join us.
Excellent. So Glenn Ritt, while you're on the screen,
Yeah, before we head off, let me just do one more thing here quickly. This is Matt Franco, just a short.
Take out any card you want. Look at it, remember it, got it? Yep. All right, I'll take it from you. We'll lose it into the pack. And we'll give the deck a little bit of a shuffle like this. But also to make sure they're really mixed, I'll take half the deck face up, the other half face down, and actually mix them into each other. Can you see what I mean by that? Yeah. Sweet. Give the deck a couple of cuts like this just to make sure, and you can see the situation. I'm going to make your card just pop out of the deck. All you have to do is say your card out loud and you'll see it pop right out of the deck. Go ahead, say it.
King of diamonds.
King of diamonds. Oh. Right there, king of diamonds. And you know what's cool is the rest of the deck actually turns. All facing the same way, except the king of diamonds.
Yeah.
And how does he do that? Thank you so much, Michael. That's great. Glenn Ritt, would you like to talk about an upcoming foundation board meeting?
Yes, everybody is invited. Email with the agenda will be sent out later today. But the foundation is having its annual meeting and election of officers on Monday, the 8th at 7:30 in the morning. And all members of the club are invited.
Excellent. And I understand that you'll have an election and we'll also be discussing some amendment to the bylaws.
We will be doing that. And we'll be also encouraging club members, if they're interested in joining two committees, the Development Committee and the Grants Committee, which they can learn more about at the meeting.
Wonderful. And Mark Gardberg, we have a club board meeting tomorrow night.
That's right. And the information is in Michael Turner's periodic
in the newsletter.
Newsletter, exactly. Thank you.
Yes, excellent. And all club members are welcome to attend any board meeting or foundation board meeting. All right. We have just maybe a couple of minutes for Happy Bucks. Is anybody happy this morning? Well, I'm happy because we have all these guests, including an international audience, and that's pretty special.
I'm happy for $1 to just give everybody a last minute alert that if anyone wants to be a food hero tomorrow for Delivering with Dignity, we're going to close up the reservations at noon today. Please email me and just tell me you'd like to participate between 11 and 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Wonderful. Larry Brown, would you like to lead us in the four-way test?
Yes, indeed. Of the things we think, say, or do, first is the truth. Second is all concerned. Third, build goodwill and better friendships. And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you all and have a great day. We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.